Wherever you are, welcome. I welcome you to our broadcast today. And permit me to say good morning, good afternoon, and good night to you, depending on your time zone. Welcome to the first segment of our broadcast today. Thanks for joining us. I will answer you and show you wherever you are, you are welcome. I'm so pleased to welcome you to the very first segment of our broadcast today. Before you is an interesting caption, an interesting topic that commands a lot of curiosity to really understand what it is all about. This happened in Yobe State, in the northern part of Nigeria, in Yobe State. The state government of Yobe decided to recruit some members of Boko Haram terrorists into what are called hybrid force. Called hybrid force. We don't really understand what by recruiting the people of Boko Haram terrorists into what are called hybrid force. What is hybrid force? Hybrid force, is it recognized by the Constitution of Nigeria? Hybrid force, is it according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What is hybrid force? I don't know. When we get into the story, maybe possibly they will be able to explain to the world and to Nigerians what they mean by hybrid force. But for me, I don't understand what it means. Hybrid force, special force. It is not based on the grammar, it is not based on the vocabulary, it is not based on the English word hybrid. It depends on what they mean. It depends on the ideology. It depends on what the intention that they want to achieve through such formation or through such recruitment, what it means. That is the most important thing. Hybrid force. Nomenclature, names, and different kind of, these are things that government from time to time that come up with one name to form one organization or institution or the other, and they will try to explain it away with very, very convincing intentions before the camera, before the crowd. And at the end of the day, we have discovered that more often than not, such creations or formations of such institutions in government, with all the convincing explanations that they give to the people, to the country today, the citizens, at the end of the day, after the first tenure of the government in power being 4 years, or at the expiration of the two tenures being 8 years, when we go to records, when we record, when we try to look into the performances and the achievement of such creations of formations, based on what we were told, we have always discovered that they all lied to us. They all lied to us, as they always do. They always lie from one lie to another, from one lie, brazen lie to another. And when you try to call them to account, they will try to defend the lies they told us years back when they were in office. Hybrid force. What do they mean by hybrid force? Yobe state in the north, Yobe state is in the northern part of Nigeria. In order for them to combat terrorism, they decided to recruit the members of terrorist group Boko Haram into what they call hybrid force. This hybrid force have asked the question, is it recognized by the Constitution of Nigeria? Is it according to the provision of the Constitution of Nigeria that you should recruit members of terrorist group to form a security arm or a security unit or a security institution or whatever you may call it? Is it according to the provision of the Constitution of Nigeria? Is it supported by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Is it? That is a very important question that I am trying to find out the answer. I am trying to find out the answer. I believe that you too, you are also trying to wrap your mind to understand what actually is going on here. Hybrid force. Is it according to the Constitution of Nigeria? This is the question that I want to be ringing. Let it be ringing in your mind. Hybrid force. Is it based on the framework that the Constitution has provided? We know that the police, the army, the DSS, and all of that, some other security agencies of Nigeria, even civil defense, I believe that they have their footing. There is provision of the Constitution that gave the government of the day the impetus to go ahead to create them, to form them. What about this particular security outfit? The very force that is called hybrid that Yobe State decided to create, not using those that are well trained, not using those who are experts in security intelligence, in combatant soldiers, those who have experienced what it means to tackle terrorism, not making this or creating this very hybrid force from them or through them. But this is exclusively from the members of Boko Haram terrorists. This is very, very disturbing. Now, we are going into the details of this very information. I am bringing it to the screen. Let me bring it to the screen. I think it is now on the screen, but I want to confirm that the screen sharing has not disconnected me. I want to be sure of that. Thank you very much. You can see it is right on the screen. It is right on the screen. And this is coming from trackingtimes.co. trackingtimes.co. Terrorism, why Yobe recruited repentant Boko Haram insurgents into hybrid force. Into hybrid force. I hope you're seeing that. Why Yobe state recruited repentant Boko Haram insurgents into hybrid force. Abdusalam retired. Abdusalam retired.
United Nations judgment has set him free. Let him go. Let him go.
So we are going straight into the details of the very information. Terrorism, why Yobe recruited repentant Boko Haram insurgents into hybrid force. Abdusalam retired. The government of Yobe State gives reasons why the repentant members of Boko Haram terrorists have been recruited into what is called hybrid force. The government of Yobe State has given reasons why the repentant, in quote, repentant. And how do we know that they are repentant? Have they been taken to court? Did they plead guilty? How do we ascertain that these are actually repentant members of the Boko Haram terrorists? How? When they tell us that they are repentant members of the Boko Haram terrorists or insurgents, how do we confirm that it's true? That actually these people who are being recruited into what are called hybrid force, that they are actually repentant. How do we prove it? How do the society confirm that? Because security that they are putting in place is for the people, not for themselves. They have their own securities. The government do have its own securities. The governor has his own securities. When the citizens are being killed and massacred and shot at, bombed, houses, communities being razed down, he has his own security that protect him and his family and his, all the people who are in his good records and good books. The same with the president, the same with the governor, the same with the politicians, the political elites. They have their own securities. So the army, the police, and some of these are newly formed security outfits of vigilantes. They are for the common man. They are for the common people. Yes, they go in the convoy, of the army, different kind of security agencies or forces drafted as either their orderlies or their escorts or their whatever, security that they need to protect them in all their activities, in all their functions and events. But those that are always drafted to the governors as the orderlies, to the governors or the senators or the president, they are very, very intelligent, well-trained, professional security personnel. Not this one that they deploy to the street, to the villages, and to the communities to ensure what they call law and order, which we have known that more often than not, they have also become those that also breach the peace, those that constitute breach of security, those that extort from the citizens, those they are asked to protect and defend, extorting from them, harassing them, subjecting them to all manner of inhuman and degrading treatment, abuse their rights, kill, shot at sight, and they call it accidental discharge. This hybrid force that they claim they are drafted or they are recruited from the repentant Boko Haram terrorists. The question I'm asking today is this: how do we know that these are actually repentant, that they have repented? How do we confirm that? How do the Yobe state indigenes confirm this? That indeed they are repentant. They have repented. As I asked a few minutes ago, were they taken to court? Were they convicted? Did they plead guilty? Did they? So, on what basis? What are the indices that we can use to find out that indeed they are repentant? Only the government knows. We don't know. And we cannot say what we don't understand. I just asked a very important question, which I know that some of you may also be itching to know the answer to such question or those questions, but I don't have answer to it. We must continue with this very piece of information. The government of Yobe State gives reasons why the repentant members of Boko Haram terrorists have been recruited into what is called hybrid force. Hybrid force. Now, speaking on Wednesday, 5th of June 2024, the government said that the repentant Boko Haram terrorists are assisting in counterinsurgency operations in the state. They are assisting in counterinsurgency operations in the state. Counterinsurgency operations in the state. So they claim. So, what happened in the southeast that they kill some people, they kill some individuals and they tag them terrorists. They tag them one thing or the other, criminal elements, kidnappers. Why do they kill them at spot? Why did they shoot at sight? Why don't they take them through the process that they took these so-called repentant Boko Haram terrorists that made them to become repentant? Why they don't do the same in the southeast? This is another important question that we need to provide answer to it. We sincerely need to provide answer to this very question. And they claim that this very hybrid force that was drafted from the repentant Boko Haram insurgent or terrorists are assisting the government in counterinsurgency operations in the state. They are assisting the government. Terrorists are assisting the government. Have you ever seen such before? Have you heard about that before? You may have heard about it before, but how true is it? How true? How true is it? Okay? They are not yet convicted. They are not yet taken to court. They didn't plead not guilty or guilty. They have not seen the four walls of the courtroom to face terrorism charges in the first instance before maybe the government may grant them amnesty. There was none of such that happened. None of this happened. The government handpicked them and used them to form what they call hybrid force. And the government comes down here to claim that they are assisting the government in counterinsurgency operations in the state. So they claim. And I asked the question, why is it that same is not happening in the southeast? Why do they kill those that are found in the bushes or in the forest in Arochukwu local government area of the state, in Olo, in Imo State, in different parts of Imo State, in Ebonyi State, in Enugu State, in Anambra State. Why is it that they shoot them? They don't arrest them. They don't take them through the process that they took these so-called repentant Boko Haram terrorists in order to help them to provide intelligence or ideas in counter-insurgency operations in the southeast. Why? Why? This is a very sincere, unbiased question that every sincere and unbiased patriotic Nigeria should be asking. Why? Why is it that when it comes to the southeast, the story is different? Why? Why is it that when it comes to Igbo, the Igbo land, the 5 eastern states of the country in Nigeria, that the approach of the government is completely different and drastic? Why? But when it comes to the north, there is a different approach altogether. They can now boldly and openly declare to the public that they have recruited members of the repentant Boko Haram terrorists to form what they call hybrid force. Some of them we know they are in the army, some of them we know that they're in the police, some of them we know that they are in different security forces, armed forces of Nigeria, officially accepted by the government, endorsed by the government, recruited by the government. Some of them are in the DSS. Okay, these are members of the Boko Haram terrorists recruited, now officially working and serving for the Nigerian security armed forces or with the Nigerian security or armed forces. But when it comes to the southeast, anyone that is seen as or not even verified or well investigated, they are attacked terrorists and they are killed. They are not recruited to assist the government. They are not. They are not recruited to assist the government of Nigeria in providing counter-insurgency ideas or clues or information to help them to fight insurgency as they claim in the southeast. These are killed. They are shot at. They are killed and their bodies disposed, gotten rid of. But when it comes to the north, they are arrested. And after some weeks, they are released. And they are now tagged repentant members of Boko Haram. They are now assisting us in counter-insurgency operation. In the southeast, they are killed. In the north, they are picked up, kept somewhere in the room, well taken care of, treated with kid gloves, and celebrated as the graduating repentant Boko Haram insurgent who had gone through de-radicalization, who had gone through orientation, who had gone through 1 or 2 skill acquisitions to be useful to the society, to be useful to the north. But when it comes to the south, no, they should not be useful to the south. They should not be useful to the east. But in the north, they will be trained, they will be taken care of, they will be equipped, and they will be released and reintegrated into the society, drafted into the army, drafted into the police, drafted into the DSS, or they will use them to form a special armed forces, which we are looking into today. Hybrid force to be useful to the north. But in the east, no. Shoot them and kill them. Extrajudicial killings going on in the southeast. But in the north, they are trained, they are protected and released into the society, reintegrated into the society. And who dare question them? Nobody. If you question them, they'll come for your head. But what I'm doing is asking a very important question. It went on to say, the state governor, Mai Mala Boni, the state governor, Mai Mala Boni, who was represented by his special advisor on security, Brigadier General Dahiru Abdusalam retd, said this while briefing newsroom in Damaturu on Wednesday. The news agency of Nigeria reports that Abdusalam was reacting to concerns raised by some residents of the town over the recruitment and involvement of repentant Boko Haram terrorists in security operations in Gaidan town. Did you see that? That the members of the public were actually apprehensive, that the members of the public of that very community, of that very locality, they were actually scared. They were actually very, very scared, asking why is it that these members of Boko are being recruited into security force? Why is it? You can see it here. The question that the members of the public are reacting to or asking. Abdusalam was reacting to concerns raised by some residents of the town over the recruitment and involvement of repentant Boko Haram terrorists in security operations in Gaidan town. Why? Why did you recruit them? Does it mean that the Nigerian army have become powerless? That the insurgents and the terrorists are now better than they in intelligence gathering in certain security operations? Is that what it means? Is that what it means? Are they now telling us that the money that the army is being paid and all the security votes and all the budget for security that is being released every year in billions of naira is now a waste? That the insurgents are now well equipped, well informed than the army, than the police, than the DSS, than the civil defense, than the Air Force, that they now depend on the terrorists to give them information. Can't the army and the police find out the information themselves through intelligence gathering? My goodness, these terrorists are not even as sophisticated as the ISIS or the Taliban or the Hezbollah or the Hamas. Still, the army is dependent on them for counter-insurgency operation. Is it not pathetic? In his response, this is no government that will take any decision that is to the detriment of its people. The government is committed to ending insurgency so that we can have peace. So the government is committed in ending insurgency that the state may have peace. You now rely and depend on the terrorists that has already inflicted so much pain upon the state, the terrorists that have killed people, the terrorists that have maimed people. Some women are now widows as a result of these very terrorists. Some children are now fatherless or motherless as a result of the activities of these terrorists. And after these terrorists have killed scores of people, numbers of people, countless number of people, rather than take them to the court, let them face justice. Let them realize the consequences of their act of terrorism. Let them see to it that terrorism doesn't pay, that terrorism is evil and abominable and is punishable by the law. No, they don't do it. They recruit them to become part of them, to become part of the government. Can you just understand that? They recruit them to become part of the oppressions, to become part of the decision makers in the state. They recruit the terrorists to become part of the contributors to the government policies on security in the state, in the country. What a shame it is. It means that the government has failed. If the government cannot be able to bring terrorists to their knees, if the government cannot be able to arrest the situation of insecurity and bring lasting peace, this is why they were elected. This is why they were elected and put in office, whether they were elected by the people or selected by the powers that be and put there. Their primary responsibility is to ensure the security of lives and properties. Every governor is the number one security officer in the state. Every governor. So they made us understand. So rather than bringing these people to justice, these terrorists to justice, they now embraced them with open arms and brought them into the government to become part and parcel of the cabinet of the government, making decisions that affect even those they have killed, their relatives, their children, or their father or their mother, those they have made homeless, those that they have maimed, that they have deformed, that different parts of their bodies have been amputated or destroyed permanently as a result of their terrorist activities. They are now with the government to make decisions that affect the safety and the lives and the properties of the citizens who are victims of their terrorist activities and oppressions. This is quite embarrassing and annoying. How can, in a sense, society, in a democracy that Nigeria claims to be, entertain and receive terrorists to become part of the government? To become part of the government. And you ask yourself, what is the result at the long run? What is the result? The result is sending a very clear message and signal that terrorism pays. That if you want to be part of the government, you must be so unruly, you must be a terrorist, you must be a killer, you must be so destructive, you must be so vile, you must be a vile person, so raw in your wickedness, so crude, you must be a brute. That is the single and very clear, understandable message and signal that they are sending out there, that terrorism pays. If you want to become one of the decision makers in the government, kill, destroy, burn down houses, and then the government will invite you to a discussion and possibly will allow you to become part of its government or its decision making. And when you look at this in comparison to the case of Nnamdi Kanu, you wonder what is going on in Nigeria. We have these repentant Boko Haram insurgents called hybrid force that have been assisting security agencies in conducting operations in Damaturu, Goniri, and Boniyadi. First, they assist with information about insurgents through their sources that are still with Boko Haram and ISWAP. Secondly, they assist with information about Boko Haram and ISWAP collaborators and suppliers, he said. So, since they have been assisting you in all of this information, I hope you are seeing it on the screen as they claim. Since that you have these insurgents assisting you with such information, what success have you recorded? They made mention of they supplied them with the information about the oppressions of Boko Haram and ISWAP, which is ISIS in West African province, ISWAP. Secondly, they assist them with information that has to do with Boko Haram and ISWAP collaborators and suppliers. Good. These are the sponsors, okay? So when these hybrid force who are drafted from Boko Haram insurgent or terrorists assist you with such information, what is the record that through their information you have been able to achieve in tackling insecurity in the state? Zero. They assist you with the information that has to do with the collaborators and the suppliers of Boko Haram and ISWAP insurgents, their sponsors. How many of the sponsors have you arrested? Zero. How many of the sponsors has been convicted in the court? Zero. But you claim that these repentant Boko Haram members are helping you. They are doing marvelously well in supplying you with all the information that you need to ensure that you fight insurgency in the state and to bring peace, lasting peace in the state. What is the record? What is the achievement? What is the landmark victories and successes you have achieved since you recruited and brought in these very terrorists into your cabinet, into your government? The answer is zero. But Nnamdi Kanu is still in the DSS dungeon. This is 3 good years. 3. They have adjourned this case to either the 23rd of September this year, making it more than 3 years, almost 3.5 years. A man that killed nobody, a man that is not a terrorist, a man that the whole court has exonerated of any kind of crime or criminality that you accused him of. He is still in the DSS dungeon. He is still there, languishing there, with a very deteriorating health condition. He is in the DSS dungeon. And you are busy recruiting Boko Haram members to become part of your government. Do you call this government a terrorist government? Should you call this government a terrorist government? Should you call Nigeria a country that loves terrorism rather than a democracy? It's a shame. It is very, very unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this part of the world. The special advisor added that the repentant Boko Haram members were deployed to guide them to assist in containing the infiltration of terrorists and their collaborators in the commercial town. In Gaidem, there are people engaging in business activities on behalf of Boko Haram. There are those that supply food, fuel, and other essentials to the insurgents. I hope you're seeing that. That even in this very state, they have welcomed terrorism. It has become a new normal. They are no longer scared of the terrorists. They now work in collaboration with the terrorists. They now assist the terrorists, and it has become a terrorist state, terrorist-driven or enabled state, terrorist-run state. Isn't it what it is? Isn't it what it is? As I asked a few minutes ago, how many of these collaborators of Boko Haram and ISWAP has been arrested by the government or by the security forces in the state? How many of them has been arrested? How many of them have been charged to court? How many of them have been convicted of this very terrorism act? But you are charging Nnamdi Kanu with terrorism, whereas the real confirmed terrorists are walking free in the state, in the country. They are in the army, they are in the police, they are in the DSS, they are everywhere known to us in the government. The hybrid force had identified persons having links with Boko Haram leadership and their supply chain. As a result of this, 12 people have been arrested, interrogated in Gaidem, and transferred to Damaturu, Abdusalam said. Transferred to Damaturu. Where did they transfer them to in Damaturu? To the prison, sent to the court in Damaturu, or transferred to a private house or facility where they are being taken care of, where they are being groomed to become the next commissioner of police, to become the next army general, to become the next commandant of one troop or battalion or the other. What a shame. They have been transferred to Damaturu, and that is the end of the matter. Transferred. Case closed. He called on residents of Gaidam to cooperate with security agencies in dislodging terrorists and blocking their supply routes. What a shame. What a shame. Residents. Who are the residents of Gaidam? Who are these residents? Are they equipped? Do they have access to the information that the army has? Do they have access to the information that the police has? The answer is no, no, no. The major recruitment of Boko Haram is fuel, food, and medicine. That is why they attack hospitals, break into shops, and steal materials. So these are the logistics, the need that they continue to disturb us and innocent individuals, Abdusalam said. So in order to stop them from disturbing us, we have to make them to be one of us. Do you understand that? In order to stop them from disturbing us, so we have to bring them in to become part of the government. What a shame. What a shame. What a shame. And with this, we are bringing this broadcast to an end. Thank you very much.
Call on you today. Come and turn things around. Come and turn things around. Come and turn things around for your children. Jehovah Jireh, turn things around. Papa, they are suffering all over Nigeria. In the last one, that's the Papa. In the last one, United Nations judgment has set him free, which is on the back of Chineke and I told her they on